Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Real Estate Lab podcast. It's another Friday, and today we're going to do a little something a little different. We're just going to talk about some of the news that's come out over the last few weeks that I think is pertinent to the Austin area. So why don't we start off with, I believe in this ladies first business. Randy, why don't you share something you've got or that you'd like to talk about?
I'm going to do a real easy one to kind of just do an icebreaker here, which is talking about the weather that we're going to have.
I think your volume's a little low. JJ, is her volume a little low?
I was thinking that too. I just turned my volume up.
Okay. Yeah, hers is good. Oh, okay. Here we go.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is my volume?
Digit.
I'll just talk louder.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. So we're going to experience triple digit temperatures coming through this weekend. Myself and Ian are particularly concerned because we're both camping coming up and this is going to be very hot. I think normally we're used to having the extreme heat hit us July, August, right when we're all about pretty sick of it. But the summer has really kicked off for us rather early, in my opinion. And so I just wonder, I am seeing a lot of funny memes out there of people saying, welcome to Texas, for people that moved here this year, maybe didn't realize what they're getting themselves into. So just a little icebreaker news, which is it's hot and it's hot sooner than it usually is.
Yeah, I think I have a couple things related to this. JJ, do you remember when it was 100 days over 100?
Maybe. I actually have a story after you bring up.
Well, I was just that was in 2015, which is the year I moved here, and it was 100 days over 100, and it's like, okay, well that and there was a drought, so the water levels were super low. You couldn't water your grass on certain days, and here's the kicker. The kicker is if you go to a restaurant, they wouldn't give you water. Like you had to ask for it specifically.
Oh my God.
So, and the reason why this is so important is people if this is their first year here or their second year, but their first summer spending time out,
yeah,
it can really kind of damage your life if you're not prepared for it.
It can be unbelievable. I mean, even as somebody who has been in Texas my whole life, I walk out there and I'm like, yeah, here's that heat, but you just kind of spend like longer than 10 or 15 minutes outside for whatever reason. And like, you can't help but say every once in a while, like, damn, it is hot. It's so hot. So, and then it actually does reach levels where it's rather unsafe. So everybody learn what you're supposed to be doing and wearing and drink so much water and just be careful out there.
What was your story, JJ?
I actually have a water story. Yeah, so it's related to that. And this was back in the day when I felt like, so I was showing, I used to also not eat when I was eating, drink enough water, just like showing properties and all in doing that. And this was the time where I felt like there was more new construction happening. So when I was working with buyers and we kept looking at properties, we were always at like framed houses and like walking lots and like in the sun. Like I just can't wait to get to the next air-conditioned space or turn it up, right? But this particular summer, it was just like happening a lot. And I'm sweating. I ended up fainting in a restaurant at lunch.
Are you serious? Oh my God.
Wow, man.
I remember paying or like getting the change from the clerk. And then I remember I remember hearing the change hit the floor along with me.
You were with your clients too, or what?
Okay. No, it was just me. And I always tell people to drink water because sometimes people forget to drink water when you're like looking at properties.
I mean, if you're just not used to it and you don't know what you got to do, dress cool and drink that water, and like really don't hang out outside unless you're going to stay cool with playing in the water or something. And even then, don't forget how hot it is just because you're sitting in some water too.
Back pre-pandemic times, whenever I would go on long showings, like if I know I'm going to be out for a day looking at all these properties, I would try to bring extra water for clients or text them and say, hey, listen, it's going to be hot today. I don't think you get it. Let's go ahead and make sure that you have something to drink. And you have all those people, you have the people that are like, oh, I'm fine. Man, I remember getting to one house and this couple, they were so exhausted and so thirsty that they ended up having to drink out of the sink. Just
Oh my gosh.
I was like, listen, I tried to warn you. So, okay, that was a good one. JJ, what do you have?
I was just gonna look. So what I did is I looked up. Let me get my share going on here.
And then JJ, if you can adjust your mic, it's coming in a little bit.
Yeah,
Okay, pull it up.
Don't know if it's working or not, but I just went to Street Advisor just to see how they're ranking neighborhoods these days.
I like that. I like that site.
It's interesting. Top 3, they wrote Hyde Park, number 2, St. Edwards, and number 3, Barton Hills.
I'm kind of surprised by this Edwards one. They're turning over a lot right around there, aren't they? Or
what's their criteria?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. And it's interesting because it's very central. So,
yeah,
even if you go further down, you see Tarrytown and Allendale. So it's almost a proximity thing because it's not affordability on this list that I think.
Yeah. And, well, these are all central Austin. I'm curious how they rate some of the suburbs compared to Austin.
Let's see, Zilker, Shoal Creek,
proper.
Windsor Park.
I think
West Oak Hill.
North Shoal Creek is probably the best bang for your buck right now if you're trying to get into central Austin. There's North Shoal Creek. So that's going to be still south of 183. So you're still feeling central. The homes are pretty small, so you need to be down for that. But the lots are large.
Lots of large homes are like late 70s, mid 80s, right?
Yes.
That's another really common thing to think about.
I mean, it's not affordable or anything. It's just more affordable than the rest of the neighborhoods that I'm seeing on that list.
So I love that you brought that up because that's going to be mine is you know how you said it's more affordable?
Yeah.
So I love this site. It's called Visual Capitalist. Have you ever heard of it?
Mm-mm.
So they take data and make it interesting. So if you look at this, it shows this one is specifically the world's least affordable housing markets. And, forever they're like, oh, Austin is so unaffordable, all this sort of stuff. But if you look at it, San Fran and Los Angeles and San Jose have made this list, but they're not even that high. Like Sydney, Hong Kong. So
Dang.
I know, just you think about that, even New York City. All right, 75% of New York City is zoned for residential, and only 7% of Hong Kong is zoned for residential.
Wow.
Right. So it's all farmland and everything else, military, that kind. And so they don't have room to build. Texas, Austin, we still have so much room to build.
Yeah.
And I've said it and said it and said it. We've talked about this a lot on the channel. San Fran, there's no real room to build. San Jose, they're on the ocean. They're, they don't have the room to build the same as we do. So that's why I think while we are increasing in prices, we still have a long way to go.
Yeah, I would be super curious what the Austin number would have been. Those are pretty neat. I'm really surprised to see the compare because we know how expensive San Francisco feels
in the United States.
I cannot believe Sydney and Hong Kong. That's nuts. Why is it like that? I'm reading that little blurb down there. Median home price in Sydney is $982, 40% higher. Huh.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. So
yeah, that's a fun one because I just want to put it back into perspective. People try to blame it on U.S. politics and like migration patterns of the world, and it's like, well, there's so much to it. A lot of people, we're usually only concerned about our local area, our local economy, but not how the rest of the economy impacts our area. So, yeah, that was one.
That segues nicely into one that I have.
What's that?
This is talking about how we are losing the Boomtown halo.
What?
That's right.
We're not losing anything.
Pandemic Boomtown halo with out-of-town home buyers. So the article obviously first discusses what its headline is. which is that it's saying that people are, it's dropped in all the lists of places to seek and go to. And then Orlando and Atlanta and Dallas are also falling as well, losing some steam. But then the article kind of finishes off with some opposing views of saying just how everybody is losing some steam right now because of those rising interest rates and because the buyers are just pulling back for those types of reasons. And people believe that once we kind of settle into the new reality of those interest rates, we get a better idea and scope of what's coming for us in the next year, that Austin will probably almost inevitably still make its way back to the top of incoming traffic just because of all those companies that still have plans to move here. So, but for now, people are, they're looking at the statistics like 18% of our active listings in May had a price reduction, and that people are just looking at that and not leaving California or other high cost areas to come to Austin anymore because it no longer looks as affordable as it once did. But perhaps they're just trying to do some clickbait here, because I think there's more in play than just that.
I think it's
How
a
do
little
you feel
too hot.
about salaries, JJ?
I think Austin's too hot. I think the median price point's in the 6s, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah,
like after breaking like 7 is kind of, that's it. Or
is that what you think? You think we're going to taper off at 7 and then plateau like we have been pre-pandemic?
I don't know why I said this before, but I was thinking about an episode where I assumed 7. There's like a lot of hype back then, so I'm trying to stick to what I said before. And then I'm also saying maybe you'll sit in the 6s. It's just, I think we better brace ourselves for inflationary issues. Groceries have gone up from, this is according to my investor client. I didn't look this up, but he says about 20%. And it just affects areas in the country differently.
Yeah.
And I just think there's things that are looming, so we have to be careful a little bit. A few, even though we have Apple workers here, maybe if less iPhones are being bought, that $1.1 million house might end up being 1 million.
Well, here's what's interesting about that, specifically that Apple thing. So their campus hasn't even opened yet, from what I understand. Help me,
that too.
Correct me if I'm wrong. So the big one is mostly manufacturing for like their Mac Pro, which is their business class Mac, right? But it's still hardware. And if Apple's anything like Amazon or Tesla or Samsung, then there are probably a lot of robotics related to it, and they don't need a large labor force.
Oh, that's interesting, Ian. I don't know.
And then if it is a labor force, is the labor force paid as much as executives? Mm-hmm. No, the answer is no, right? So comparing those, it's like, I don't know that the jobs are going to keep up with much higher than what we've got.
Okay.
That's why I think it's going to slow us down. But also, if you could live anywhere in the United States, you compare, let's say, San Diego, California, and Austin. Get rid of the politics, get rid of the jobs, get rid of the housing. Like, which place would you choose? And if San Diego is just a little more desirable, then that would kind of bring it at a higher value on the list versus Austin. I don't know. I like being in the center and not having to worry about hurricanes and not hurricane. Well, hurricanes is one of them, but what are tidal waves and earthquakes?
Yeah, and it says Austin loses, pandemic or what? Boomtown Halo. Sorry, but I think the opportunity is on the outskirts. I think Austin's white hot, but there's a ripple effect. And even when Ian was talking about manufacturing, I mean, maybe Saladow's about to Jarrell. We talked about this before. I think the opportunities are in those towns.
Well, we brought this one up. Randy, what do you think about this one?
Boom.
Yeah, Crazy. That's cool though. Georgetown is so cute.
So
Like,
I mean, I don't know. Forever I was like North Austin, North Austin, North Austin, and everybody's like, but South. I mean,
Very
I
polarizing.
just said as far as investment, as far as where I see a lot of growth going, and it's kind of shown up because Georgetown has so much land, and it's still along the 35 corridor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now, after, because these dates are older, right? What is this? This is from July 1st of 2020 to 2021.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now after that becomes kind of hyper inflated just a little bit. The prices are hyper inflated. Now people have to move south to stay near Austin or 30 minutes from their job. JJ, what are your thoughts on this, on Georgetown? And Randy, sorry.
I love Georgetown. It's kind of expensive still. Or, I just remember when things used to cost 200. So I like that number because I've seen Austin go from 200 to 600. And maybe there's another 200 opportunity to go to 3, maybe 4. So I look around and I don't know what the median of Georgetown is, but Georgetown is pretty awesome. Like I took my mom, one of her birthdays, I took her to the Georgetown Square. I just thought it was a cool.
Over there, yeah.
Yeah. There's a restaurant there and you could walk around. It's like a little cute downtown, charming, historical looking. I love downtowns, by the way.
Very cool.
I think Georgetown becoming one of the most popular, cities. That's what the headline is, right? I think that just really ties into Austin, the Austin spread. That's just inevitable. It's coming for it. It's kind of a miracle that it didn't happen sooner. And probably it has a lot to do with just Austin's chosen way of regulation and zoning. And so, bravo to them in a lot of ways, but then also like it was coming for you and whether you wanted it or not. So, and it kind of really resembles the feel that I get whenever I go to cities, San Antonio and Dallas and Houston, where there are 4, 5, 6 surrounding towns and cities that are now just a part of the blob. And that's okay. And that is just the way of the future. And it happens to all major cities like Chicago and Los Angeles, in my opinion, are probably the 2 biggest examples of just the biggest blob ever. So it's like nonstop concrete for about an hour and a half either direction.
Actually, Ian, when you pulled up that site with the affordability, I mean, San Francisco and San Jose are pretty clustered.
Yeah, they're close.
Together.
Yeah.
And that's actually a really good point.
And I would say if you're like looking for the best schools, relatively speaking, and you're moving your way north, I would say there's more of a drastic perspective where it cuts off, like Georgetown, Leander. That's kind of the edge. After that, it might be
well,
different.
we as realtors know that best is relative. I know how you said perspective, right?
Perspective. Somebody.
Yeah. But it is very true when considering what they are rating on these school sites. It completely changes what those numbers mean. And if Georgetown has grown and has doubled in population, that means the amount of money that's come in, tax money that's come in and hasn't yet been utilized. And also the new teachers, right? The new ISD staff all together, the new schools they're building for these new neighborhoods, like it's all changing. They don't have those numbers yet. So these sites can't keep up with it.
And parent involvement, it's like the biggest part that makes a school run in a good way, in my opinion, is what kind of parents do you have in that building? Parents that are showing
you say that.
Participating in PTA, it's a huge piece. So,
all right. Well, we're actually over time. We have to get going. So, parting words of wisdom. What do you want to tell people after our news articles today?
If you could let me just share my screen one more time. I have a final article to just boost some morale.
Do it. Let's boost some morale.
Which is that Austin is now the Gen Z capital of America.
We've been the capital of everything, but that's good.
So, the young folk think that we're promising, and they will come and they will give us high-paying jobs to help our economy continue on in its upward trajectory. So that would be my last.
Well, the fact that they're physically located here is definitely interesting. because a lot of people are worried about remote work and this and that. Well, these people are choosing, these youngsters are choosing, but they came here because their parents got jobs here.
No. They're saying their friends did, that their friends are interning at these campuses and that they come to visit them. And then they realize, and then it actually specifically says that in the article too, that they say, well, this is where I want to plug in and work remotely is the vibe of this city. So
I'll tell you what, if I was in most places in the United States, let's pick on the Midwest for a minute. If we were in the Midwest and I came to visit Austin, I would stay too.
Yeah.
In fact, that's what happened in real life.
I think they're gonna buy the condos. I feel like the condo.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They're still fairly affordable, and they're these young people are like, I could share a wall.
Yeah.
I think it's going to depend on how financially savvy the generation is, and their thoughts on home ownership.
Yeah, you're right.
Because if they can get a condo, that would be interesting. But hey, everybody, thanks for watching. We will see you again next week on the Real Estate Lab. Appreciate you. Bye.
Thank you.